does Russia have a lot of fat people addicted to coffee? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't.
Okay. Because I'm
Why?
wondering how the McDonald's and the Starbucks joining the whole sanction thing is effective. Like I'm not like I like Starbucks coffee. Spend my $8 one coffee.
Right.
McDonald's, they're like a very rare treat because it doesn't sit well.
Right.
But I don't think that would motivate me to do anything, especially not stop a war. Like they've been sanctioned by everyone, but
Right.
McDonald's and Starbucks, that's the straw that broke the camel's back.
And Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola has also
Oh,
joined this
of
as
course,
well.
of course. What is the point of this?
You know what? I am so happy that you said that because that is exactly why this story is so important and why this article is being laughed at by a lot of people quick because they're saying the exact same thing that you're saying. Who cares if Ronald McDonald isn't there? How is he gonna is the hamburger gonna stop him? Is what are we gonna do? Is Grimace gonna eat all of Putin's cookies? What are we gonna do over here, right? Is the latte gonna save the world? You know?
It makes
And
no sense.
okay, so this is the aspect of this story that people aren't considering. In Russia, Starbucks has, I think, about, I'm going to guess the numbers, about 80 different stores, right? I read the article. The numbers may be a little bit off, but the numbers that I do have correct are how many people they employ. So they employ about two to 3,000 people in Russia. Not a crazy number, but significant. McDonald's in Russia employs over 60,000 people. Okay. Coca-Cola in Russia employs over 15,000 people in Russia. So you take those numbers and we're close to 100,000 people.
More like 80,000, but okay.
We're close to, okay, lower the numbers, Mr. You know what? I'm not even gonna go there
It's
with
just
the numbers.
math.
I'm not gonna go there with math and numbers and all the things that we've been talking about. You know where I'm going with that. I
I
don't want to
don't.
touch on it. I don't
I
want to touch
don't.
on it.
I
Okay,
don't.
but 80, we'll say 80,000 people who are now unemployed in Russia. And this is something that I have never thought about, and I think this is something that people haven't thought about. Yes, we can talk about the Ukrainian and the, what about the people who are living in Russia right now? The people who have jobs, who still have bills to pay, who still have children to feed, and all of these things. And now you have a ruble. I believe their currency is called the ruble. The ruble is turned to rubble. Okay. Companies are no longer doing business. They've stopped doing Russian oil. I heard a lot of places don't do Russian oil anymore. Liquor stores have stopped storing Russian liquors. So all these things that are happening are not just affecting the country, but the citizens within that country. And I say that to ask you this: if you are in Russia right now and you have a family, you've established something there, you have a job still, right? Do you stay in Russia? Or are you one of the people who says, you know what? I don't care that I'm getting paid this much at my job. It's not good here. I'm out. I'm out. What are you doing?
Well, just to answer your question, it all depends on my politics. If I'm for the war, then I'm staying because everybody got to make sacrifices. Also, well, and then of course the opposite side to that, if I'm not, well, then I'm going to try to leave, right? But you also have to remember, like the numbers that you gave, and I know obviously the sanctions are impacting more than just these three companies, McDonald's, Starbucks, and Coca-Cola.
Right.
But
There's small businesses in Russia too.
I know, but that's like 80,000 people. Let's round up. Let's call it the 100,000. There's 145 million people in Russia. Also, you got to remember, Putin. We talked about this on the last pod. Said if you go to war and you die, God forbid, your family gets 60 bands. Again, think about the yearly income of those three employers. If you get injured, you get 20.
Right.
Right. So again, going back to your original question, would I stay? If I'm staying, and my job was impacted, maybe I worked at Starbucks, I'll probably just go to the war. Because if I believe, again, it depends on where I stand politically. So if I'm for it, I'm going to go to the war. I just lost this job because of the sanctions. All right, God forbid I die. At least my family gets some bread, but I believe in it anyways.
This is
So
like a riskier life situation, you know. Like I
yeah,
understand where you're coming from and I understand your perspective, but in either situation, it's a life or death situation. So if you choose to stay, you do face the risk that you could just die just walking out your door one day if the bad situation happens.
Of
That's a
course.
risk that you take, right? So do you take that with your children? Because it won't be, it might not be you, it might be your kids that are headed to school. And maybe they wear the wrong clothes, or some situations happen and they get in the middle, stray bullet, bang, bang, they're done. Now,
Is
let's
this a
take the
gang
opposite.
is this a gang neighborhood in Russia?
I listen. We
I'm
don't
just
know
messing
what's
with you.
going
Go
on.
ahead.
We don't know what's
Go
there.
ahead. Go ahead.
But listen, militias and guerrilla factions are bound to gain popularity depending on how long this goes on in Russia. That's just bound to happen, right? There's going to be people with the opposite opinion to what's actually going on, and they're going to build a force soon. So that's going to happen. I'm calling on that if this goes on for longer than it is right now. Now let's take it to the opposite side, right? You decide that you want to leave the country. That's a life or death situation, dog. That's like if I'm trying to cross the border and Russia doesn't want me to leave because they don't want their citizens to be leaving, if they've already bombed the Ukrainian international airport, so they don't want people leaving that country. I know I get to Ukraine. How am I getting out of the Ukraine from there? These are not easy decisions to make. And I'm not downplaying what you're saying, but you make them sound like they're simplistic, and they're not as simplistic
What
as
I'm
you're making them
saying, no,
sound.
what I'm saying is the decision itself, I think, is easy to make. But
I think it's
actually,
far more.
but
All I'm saying is
actually, but
it's more
actually,
than belief in
no,
your
no, no,
politics.
no. But actually implementing the decision, like, hey, I could wake up tomorrow and say I want to be an astronaut. I've made that decision. But it's still going to be really, really hard. I'm not downplaying the work that's going to go into what you're describing. I'm just saying
Right.
if a decision has to be made, I'm not adverse to making difficult decisions, even if it's based on the betterment of my family or my own life. I think I'm capable of making that decision, especially in war times, nigga. I can't be sitting down like, militia, come back in a week. I'm not sure what I want to do. Give me some time. No, got to make a decision and stick to it. But, you know, again, going back to McDonald's, Starbucks, and Coca-Cola,
Yeah.
yes, it is impacting those 80,000 people, but I find it funny that, remember when we said there was a Russian millionaire? Remember when we said there was a Russian millionaire that put a bounty on Putin's head for M? And you were
Yeah.
like, first of all,
That's
that's
disrespectful.
insulting, it's
It's
disrespectful.
disrespectful.
And you also said what? They did it because they wanted to be in the news. Nigga,
Right.
that's what this shit sounds like to me. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's what you think all these companies are doing just
Not
because they
all
want to be.
I'm talking about Starbucks and McDonald's and Coca-Cola. Ain't nobody give a shit about that except for the
I didn't say
people
all,
that
nigga.
work there.
I said McDonald's, Starbucks, and
Those
Coca-Cola
three.
be fronting. That's what I
Those
said.
three.
That's what
Those
I
three.
told you.
They're like the three stooges of this whole
You ain't
situation.
listening, nigga.
The
Listen.
hell, man.
Listen, nigga. I got you, man. Don't worry. I got you. I got you.
Oh man. Viewing
It's
public.
just it's just for me. It's just for me. I think like I said, every time the last two times we've spoken about this, because this is the third time now, we've always said that, of course, we're not Russian or Ukrainian, so we don't understand. So I finally found something where it allowed me to find an area where I could understand that it's about more than just what we're seeing in front of us. Nobody's spoken about what's happening because nobody cares about the citizens in Russia because they dislike Putin so much. So nobody cares about what's
I
happening in the
care.
city.
I mean,
But
if you're a human,
no, but
you
no,
care.
I don't see that. I don't see articles in the news about the. I see tons about the Ukrainian citizens. I see tons about the fact that Black people are struggling to get out of Ukraine, or they let the white people go first. I don't know, whatever that story too. We didn't talk about that for obvious reasons, but I don't hear anything about Russia. I don't.
Well, you're not gonna hear that only because, I mean, given the news that we're getting, they're made out to be the bad guy. So your point is very accurate. Of course, the citizens of that country, again, and I could be totally wrong. We have no idea, but based on what the media is telling us, of course they're suffering. Of course they are. Come on, man, not assholes. But like at the end of the day, and this is gonna sound kind of insensitive, right? But if you work for McDonald's, if you work for Starbucks, and you work for Coca-Cola, and you lose one of these jobs, I want you to think, just say this was in Canada and you worked. Do you think it's hard to find another job at that level? I think you'll be able to find one. And also, Starbucks ain't the only place you can get coffee, nigga. You can make coffee at home. McDonald's, I can make a burger at home. Coca-Cola, nigga, there's Pepsi. There's options, is what I'm saying. So that's why this shit is laughable to me. It's laughable. They're just jumping on so they get talked about. Nigga, we know you
Oh,
exist. We know
that's a
you're
different
out
way.
there. You don't need this shit. You don't need to do this. This is bullshit, man. But anyway,
Oh man. On
viewing
that note,
public, yeah, what are your thoughts, man? I'm not, if I'm coming across insensitive, I apologize, because I said it in the last video and I'll say it now. Of course, I feel bad for the citizens of both countries. I'm talking about Walmart, excuse me, I'm surprised Walmart's not in on this, but I'm talking about Starbucks, McDonald's, and Coca-Cola. I'm talking about that shit. All right, now I'm done. Leave it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Deuces.